Creations. This is Charity. Okay, so today we're going to be making a jelly roll bag. I will link in the description on where you can grab this pattern. Okay, so I've got my 8 strips already right here. I got my handles already cut out. Got my fusible fleece ready to go. I'm going to be installing a magnetic button. It's not. I got my fusible fleece for it. I've got my label that I'm going to be putting on it. And I've already cut out my lining for it. And I've also got my interfacing, my fusible fleece already cut down to size. So that way, all I got to do is once I get these sewed together, get my seams pressed, I can put the fusible fleece on the back of this. And I'm going to be cutting this in half as soon as I get the seams pressed before I install the fusible fleece. Um, so let me get these sewed together, get my seams pressed, and get it cut in half. And then we will move on to getting the fusible fleece put on. Okay, so now that we have all of our strips sewed together, and you're interfacing your fusible fleece sewed in or ironed on. Now what you want to go through and do is line up your strips, okay? And you can pin them or you can clip them. And then just make sure everything's lining up. And then once you get that done, you take your pattern and you can clip it on the sides. And then you can pin it along this. So that way it keeps your pattern in place. And then you can go ahead and just cut it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick, and then I will get the other piece cut out as well, and I will be right back. Okay, so when you come up to your second piece, when you get ready to cut it, okay, you want your placements to be in the right position, so that way all your strips line up. So this is how I do it, and it just makes it a lot easier. So you just literally put your piece that you just cut out on top of your pattern. Then you just line everything up. Okay. So in other words, what we're doing is making sure that our pieces are going to be identical. Okay. So I just wanted to point that out to you and kind of um, let you know that that's what we're going for. So that way it comes out nice and even. Okay, so let me get this other piece cut out and I will be right back. Okay, so now that we have our pieces cut out, lined up, we are going to sew 1/4 of an inch all the way across the sides and the bottom. We're not doing anything with the top, I just pinned it so that way nothing's shifting when I'm at my sewing machine. So let me go ahead and get this done and then I will bring you back to our next step. Okay, so now that we have our back sewn, we're going to be boxing our corners. So this is how I do it. You may know an easier way of doing it. This is just how I've learned, and this is just how I do it. Okay, so what I do is I find the seam and I line up those seams. Okay, so once I know that both my seams are lined up pretty good, I'm going to take my ruler and at the 3-inch mark and the 1-inch mark, I'm just going to line it up on my fabric. Okay, and then I'm going to mark it. I'm sorry, my system slightly off a little bit. Okay, so and it's usually about the 1.5-inch mark, and then just go and draw your line. Okay, so since this is a thicker fabric, I'm going to use pins just to kind of make sure that, my seams are not shifting. Everything stays together as I go to the machine. Okay, going to be doing the same thing on the other side. Seams are lined up. And we're going to be sewing right on that line that we just drawn. So let me get that done and I will be right back. Okay, so now that we have sewed this, you can use either a pair of scissors or you can use your rotary cutter. I use my ruler and my rotary cutter to cut my 1/4 inch away from there. Okay, so if you're really worried about this, the line that we made for marking where we need to sew at, if you're worried about that, mine's heat erase, so you can just take your iron over it and it'll just take it away. I'm not worried about it because it's going to be on the inside of the bag, so I'm not worried about it. Alright, so we're going to turn our bag just like this. We're going to flip it. We're going to pop out our corners. Okay, so this is how what your bag should look like. I'm going to go ahead and press mine real quick. I'm going to press the seams on the inside, on the sides, open. just so that way it, you know, it sits better. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick. And we're gonna start working on the lining. So I'm gonna be putting a magnetic snap on. So get our lining pieces. Alright. So where going to place them, I just kind of line everything up, and then usually it's easy to see where your center mark is. So I will usually come down about an inch and a half, and I will mark. Okay, just so that way when I go to flip this, I can see that mark on the other side. Okay, so that piece is on. We'll work on your other one. All right. So we could go ahead and put these on, but I like doing it as soon as I get these sewed together, just so that way, it's already together and you know where everything's gonna line up. So I'm going to get this prepped and sewed together real quick, and I will be right back. All right, so got the lining sewed together. I already got the corners boxed. Over that box in the corners when we were putting the main fabric together. So, all right, now we're gonna work on putting our uh, magnetic button on. All right, this is where I usually take my little scissors right here and just kind of make a snip snip so that way uh, we can get that snap on. I mean, you can take your bigger ones and just snip so that way we have an opening. Alright, so as soon as we get that piece on, and take one of these and just slide it on the back, and then spread them open, your prongs, until they're flat. Okay, so we're gonna do the other side the same way. Awesome. So we have that installed. So now we are going to work on our handles. Okay, so we got 4 pieces. On one, or on 2 of them, you're gonna iron on your interfacing. I usually do it right down the middle, and we'll get that on and we'll be right back. Once we get these on, take it over to your sewing machine and you're gonna mark on all four, or on at least 2 of them, 4 inches, so that way you know when or where to stop. Because we're gonna need that 4 inch to get our handles on the bag. We're also gonna be flipping the handles as well. So we're gonna need that extra space. So just go and mark all your strips 4 inches. Okay, so after you get your fleece on, okay, you're gonna be sewing in between those lines that we just put on here on both sides on both strip handles. So let's get that done and we'll come right back. Okay, so I don't think I told you this, but we're gonna be putting these 2 fabrics, uh, print to print, and then we're gonna be sewing. So I just wanted to make sure that I let you know what I was doing, so that way there's no confusion. All right, so let's get this done, and we'll come back. Okay, so now that we have everything sewed together, we're gonna be flipping these. So, make sure that you really backstitch reinforce this part because we're going to be flipping this whole strip through this little hole, okay? This is going to take some time to pull it through. Okay, so there's one. Get this other one turned. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to roll our seams out, and then we're going to press this down. We're not going to cup stitch these yet. We're not going to do that until um, we get these attached to the bag and we get everything lined up, so that way it's just one go around with it. So let's get those flattened out, and then we will get our bag put together and get our handles put together. Okay, so we got one. Get this other one. And I definitely enjoy making these bags. Because there's so many different things that you can do with them. Like I've installed recessed zippers on them. I've just done the reversible bag where you sew a button on and a tab. Um, just a regular zipper. I've put pockets on them. I will show you the very first one that I've ever made, and this was a few years ago. So this is the very first one that I ever made, and this is the one that's just got the pretty little button on there, and then the tab. I didn't put any pockets on it or anything like that, so I definitely played with the pattern and added my own, done some things a little different. Okay, so let's get our bag put together. Okay, so we are going to slide our main fabric inside. Alright, so the first thing, we want to line up our side seams. Alright, and I'm doing this wrong. Alright, so we're just going to line up our seams. And get that pinned in place so it's not moving on us. And then make it shift on me. Okay, get that side pinned. Then we'll come over here, get this side pinned. Okay, so let me get this pinned up, and we're going to, when I come back, we're going to um, mark our handles so that way we know how far it'll leave open, so that way we can get our handles on. And we're also going to be leaving one a little bit bigger because we're going to be flipping this bag out and we're going to need a pretty good size opening for that. Okay, so let me get this pinned up and I will come back and I will show you the marking. Okay, so now that we have this pin in place, so um, 3 of your handles are going to be marked 2.5 inches from right here down. You're going to mark it on the sides. And then on your fourth one, your very last one, you're going to mark that as 3 inches. So that way it gives us a little bit bigger of an opening. And make sure that um, you're back stitching, reinforcing these. Especially over here where your bigger opening is, because we're going to be flipping this. There's a lot of bulk coming through this part right here. Okay, so now what we're going to do, since these are already marked, I already marked mine. Um, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be sewing in between these markings. Do not sew your handles. Leave those open. So on your sides, sew in between here, sew on your curved areas. Make sure you sew. Um, so let's get this part done and then we will work on the handles and I will show you how we will do the handles and what our next steps are going to be. Okay, so now that we have our lining sewed on and okay, so okay, so before we install the handles, we're going to turn this bag out. Okay. Make sure you push your corners out, just like that. Make sure that you get your handles turned out as well. So just like that, we're going to stuff our lining in there. Alright, so this is the part where we're going to add our handles in. Okay, so you have two pieces here. One that's got the fusible fleece on there, the other part just fabric. Okay, so with your outside, you can match your, fusible fleece to fusible fleece, but you want to balance it out. So what you do is you take your piece that does not have the fusible fleece in it, and you're just going to line it up, pin it, so that way it does not move. And then, this is the tricky part. Okay, so this part, we're going to be rolling it over just like this, lining it up, and then pin. Okay, so now we're going to bring this over. We're going to be doing the same thing. Okay. So you're going to take your fusible fleece side, and we're going to roll it just like that. Pull your handle off to the side, and make sure it's lined up. And then we're going to pin it. Okay. You're also going to do it on the other side as well. All right. All right. So once you get that part done, after you get your handles sewed on all of them, you're going to line up your seams, and you're gonna get everything rolled, and then you're just gonna go through. You're gonna pin, or clip. Just like that. You're going to be lining everything up, putting everything in with a quarter of an inch on your openness. Then um, we're going to be top stitching everything on the upper part. We're going to be top stitching. Super fun, super easy. Um, like I said, I really enjoy making this bag. It's one of the very first bags that I've learned how to make. And these, you don't have to use jelly rolls to make this, bag. You can use, regular printed fabric, just cut the pattern out like you would, with the jelly rolls. And you would do everything the same. You can add pockets onto this, zippers. This bag's really, you can make it the way you want. Pretty sure I've made about, I don't know, 15 or 20 of these bags, and I absolutely love them. So, LaDuke's Creations does have an Etsy account. So, the stuff that I do make on this channel does get posted over to that. So, if you happen to like this, um, head over to the Etsy account. I'll link that in the description, and you can purchase it from there. Um, okay, so let's get these handles sewed together and get everything closed up and top stitched around, and I will be back with the finished product. Alright, so we're back with the finished product, and this is what she'll turn out to look like. We've got our magnetic snap, so we do have an enclosure. I did get my label put on. So it's really super easy. This bag is very fun to make, especially if you're just learning. Few things I just want to mention. Now, you can do quilting stitches on this. Um, I've done it on one of my bags that I had made. Super fun, super cute. Like I said earlier, you can add zippers to this, zipper pockets on the outside, zipper pocket on the inside. You can put bigger pockets for your phone and stuff on the inside. Different types of closures. Um, and it doesn't have to be jelly rolls to make this. You can actually use regular printed fabric. Just use your pattern that you had printed off, and it's really super easy. Just cut it out, and it's just all the other basic steps besides having to piece all these jelly strips together. So like I said earlier, um, what I make on the channel, post on Etsy, so I will link that in the description. So if this video, you happen to like it, hit that like button, comment below, and make sure to subscribe for more upcoming videos. Thank you. God bless.